There is one more semi-final.
All right, good luck.
And PSG taking on Arsenal. PSG 1-0 up going into that second leg against Arteta's side. Let's hear from both coaches.
We are here to make history. We have a big opportunity tomorrow. We bring a result that gives us so much clarity about what we have to do. A lot of learnings from the first leg as well, and how small the margins are between the two teams. The result, in my opinion, should have been very different to that one. So tomorrow, another opportunity to prove that and earn the right to be in the final.
Estamos aquí por méritos propios, por lo que hemos hecho a lo largo de toda la temporada, de manera merecida, y falta jugar el segundo partido de la semifinal. Hemos ganado el primer partido, el objetivo que tenemos ahora es intentar ganar el segundo.
Hold on.
What's that?
Is Arteta saying the result should have been different at the Emirates?
Correct.
Yes.
That's what he said, yes. Yeah. Go ahead.
I mean, I know a week's a long time, certainly for me, in my memory.
And for us working with you.
But I understand that.
Yes.
I only remember a very slick PSG performance and a sort of stuttering, not terrible Arsenal performance, but certainly not one.
An Arsenal side that took a long time to get going.
Yeah, certainly not one where you sit back and say, well, Arsenal should have been taking a couple of goals lead to Paris. It is a difficult game to call in a sense that you really don't know what you're going to get from Arsenal at the moment. We saw that again at the weekend, where he played his strongest team against Bournemouth, harping on about this top five in England, which I'm a little shocked that he did that, bearing in mind this match, the multitude of this match. It depends on Arsenal's energy. So the two things Arsenal have to do here. Clearly against this PSG side, you have to defend well. If you don't, they will rip you to shreds. And two, they have to have the energy to be able to go and threaten Paris Saint-Germain, like a bit like Villa did in the last 20 minutes, albeit at home. And somehow, because Thomas Partey's back, so that's an extra bit of physicality with Rice in the midfield, which should allow Martin Odegaard to at least go and express himself a bit more, which he's not been able to do in the big games. Not like the PSG midfield did at the Emirates. If they can somehow get Odegaard into the game picking passes and being able to dictate the pace of the play, maybe they have a chance. The problem is that with Fabian Ruiz, João Neves and Vitinho in there, they're very, very good. They're very good in midfield.
Sorry, what are you expecting from this game, Jurgen?
Well, I hope that Arsenal will go for it. I mean, you know, it's as Arteta said. I mean, it's clear you lost the first leg, and you need to go out there and win this game. So that means you got to take the game to Paris Saint-Germain, and you cannot sit back and wait and react to what Paris Saint-Germain will do. So that makes it's pretty clear. The approach needs to take initiative and take the game to them and try to create chances, you know, from the very beginning on. And that's an opportunity now for your players to really kind of step up. Now step up and prove your point. Prove that you belong to the top of the players in Europe and your top team in Europe and make it happen. So I expect Arsenal to take initiative from the first moment on.
Look, I think Vitinha, João Neves, Fabian Ruiz are excellent. But they become world-class, and I mean old-timers, when you give them time and space, which Arsenal surprisingly did over the first 25 to 30 minutes at home. If you're Arsenal, you got to get tight to these players. You have to disrupt the possession of PSG through the midfield and the possession coming from the back. If you do that, because PSG likes to push Hakimi forward, likes to push Nuno Mendes forward, there are going to be opportunities for you to run into those spaces and into those channels. But you have to get close to these players so that you can disrupt the rhythm. If you don't, there is PSG. Tack, 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 tack. We're going to build. We're going to create chances. We're going to have opportunities. We're going to isolate Kvaratskhelia. We'll see what Dembele's status is. It seems like he's been training. He'll be ready to play. Look, PSG, they have a lot of options going in the attack. They have silky players through the midfield. But you got to get tight to them. Because if you get tight to them, every player can feel that a whole lot more than you just give them 3-4 yards where they can just pick out a pass. And if you do that to Vitinha and João Neves and Fabian Ruiz, then PSG is going to take you apart the whole 90 minutes.
On paper, there's actually not much between the teams. It's just Arsenal haven't been playing well this season, and PSG have gone from not playing particularly well to playing great for the last, 4 months.
Yeah.
Absolutely brilliant. If you look at the players, yeah, they've got the odd star here, maybe you think. But, you know, Arsenal are a side that really should have been equipped to be the challengers to Man City. And it was Liverpool. They should have been equipped to go in these domestic cup competitions in England. They got knocked out by the likes of Manchester United. They are better than the version of them that we have seen this year, and that would be my concern, is that they have to raise the game. If it was the Arsenal of what we saw for the bulky last year, I think it's a different game. It's much more even, but it's not. It's an Arsenal team who've sort of moaned and whined about referees, who've sort of felt sorry for themselves with some of the injuries, and they have had some bad injuries, but they're not alone. Others have to deal with that as well, and it's almost like it's an inner built excuse for them. And I think for all those reasons, that to raise the game back to that level, it is going to be difficult. PSG have managed to go in this trajectory, which has just been incredible. And Arsenal have flatlined, if anything, maybe even tailed off. You can see that in the Premier League performance. You can see that in the Premier League table. You saw that again against Bournemouth at the weekend. Do they have enough to flick the switch and turn up in Paris and put on a huge performance? I don't think they have.
And I don't think you're in the minority either thinking that. Take a look at the predictions. Unlike yesterday where we were split pretty much between Inter and, of course, Barcelona, everybody believes it will be a PSG Inter Milan final in Germany. Of course, on the next edition of ESPN FC, we'll be looking back at that game and, I suppose, starting to look ahead to the final.